what a play! Fumble the ball, and Denver has recovered. Oh, my! Dempsey kicks. It's on the way. It is good. It's good.
The Philadelphia Eagles are Super Bowl champions.
Oh, he caught it! Oh, unbelievable!
And we're back. What's going on, Phil? Welcome to episode 14 of the FOMfanatics podcast. One episode more than we did last year.
Oh, impressive.
At this point. So we are in round 2 of playoff action. What is...
Well,
Phil, I see from our pre-gaming, you're annoyed.
Yes. Just driving my car back already after having it inspected by a separate mechanic and then be like, this is in great shape. Nothing is wrong. I've already found 3 things wrong with it. So,
well,
this is exactly what I feel.
I'm going to pour one of these out for you. I'm going to pour one of these out for you.
This is exactly why I've been nervous over the last few days. I'm like, I don't like the idea of buying a car. I'll never know exactly what's wrong with it until I get it. And now, found 3 things.
Well, I mean, hopefully, like we said, I think they're things that you could potentially fix, but any car is going to have issues. You got to focus on the bright side. You got a new car, you can do you don't have to rent cars anymore. You can go cruising. It's all good stuff.
Yeah.
Perhaps some football talk will cheer you up.
Well, perhaps. I mean, hearing Michael Thomas was out cheered me up in terms of FOMFA, but then I was like, shit, I have Michael Thomas in another league, so not helpful there.
Not in Ben. I mean, you have him in Ben White. Doesn't matter there.
No, but a league that matters.
Oh, so he's like out.
Yeah, he's apparently just straight up out.
Jeez. All right. Well, I guess David's starting Traquan.
I mean, David was starting Traquan anyway. This doesn't actually hurt him that much because he was starting Jared Smith and Traquan Smith, or Jared Cook and Traquan Smith.
Yeah.
So both of them will get an increase in targets as a result of Michael Thomas being out. So It's probably not the end of the world for him.
Oh, what did I do?
Showing Lamar Jackson, I think.
I haven't even started drinking, and I'm all over it today. I feel like this is a part of the podcast that I've missed out on in recent weeks. We started off the year with the draft podcast, and I got stupid wasted, and since then I kind of swore it off. But you know what? Today, let's bring it on, man. I'm starting my break. I'm not working next week. It's gonna be good times. And I got nothing lingering to next week. So
you don't have yet apparently the Powerline internet.
I do not. You know what? I do have my work phone. I might try and tether to it, but we tend to be able to get through. So we'll see what happens. If I drop off, you'll know why, but you'll stay on. Any preference on where we start today in our discussion? I know that Chris had some interest in jumping in on some conversation. So when we're talking about our game, maybe we can get him in.
Well, let's start with FOMFA just because I don't have a drink, so you can start talking about me and David's matchup while I sort that out.
I like it. All right. Let us pull up. Is this is the Ben White bracket? There is the playoff bracket. I should have updated this, shouldn't I? I am way off my game, folks. I'm sorry about that. Obviously, the winner of Game 2 was Raw Mexico's Avocados, going to the all-Canadian semifinals between the Toronto Sixes and David's team. Let me see if I can pull in at least the matchups, because I did this for Ben Wyatt and completely ignored FOMFA for some reason. I won't present the loser bowl because I don't think anyone is all that interested. Should I present the loser bowl?
No. No.
Even I'm not interested in the loser bowl. Let's see. I'm trying to bring in the screen grab of the matchup so we can talk about it. All right. This is looking like a close one, Phil.
Well, it's not giving me any points right now for Drew Brees. He's projected at 0.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay, then it's not going to be a close one. Because you're
I mean, you never know. I'm just saying in terms of the projections, it's currently giving me Drew Brees like a 0 for Drew Brees.
Why is that? It's been announced that he's starting.
It usually takes the site some time to update projections. So even if it knows it's there, the projections are pulled from I forget which other fantasy site, but they'll probably update them tomorrow.
I think we got some good games going. Let me throw this one up. Bam. Josh Allen's big smiling face looking back. So quite the matchup. Sorry, I'm all over the place. I didn't even rebrand. Bam, there we go.
Also, Drew Brees is not getting points, but Michael Thomas is. So
yeah, these projections are useless. They're not giving us any real information. But it should be a fun game, Phil. And did you guys faced off last year, right?
No, it wasn't actually me. It was someone else who David made his blunder against.
Okay, let me pull up the 2019.
And then I ended up beating them, but I remember following David through.
David played Luis.
He would have beaten me.
Yeah, David played Luis in the first round in week 14 last year.
Yeah.
Losing to Lucas Shies, who scored 182.98 points. David scored 181.32. That is brutal. That is a brutal loss in the playoffs. But I think it was because of Mostert. He did something along those lines. So he didn't start a very versatile player.
No, he started some garbage person instead of Mostert.
Albert Wilson, I want to say.
Yeah, that sounds right.
John's wondering why we don't have a loser bowl in Ben Wyatt.
Because none of the losers decided that they cared enough to make one.
Yeah. By the way, yes, thank you, Chris. By the way, the reason that we have loser bowls is because I was bored. I just started asking people if they wanted to get in on this and have the chance of making up a little bit of the money that you lost over the year. And last year I won the loser bowl. I'm in the finals of the loser bowl again in FOMFA, but I'm going to get dominated in this one. There's absolutely no chance, but we'll see. Who knows? So yeah, and in terms of this game here, I think you clearly have the advantage. So it's all pressure. Although I find it interesting that Blankenship and Oswell are projected to be identical punters or kickers.
Yeah, well, the site never really knows what it's doing with any special teams projections.
Yeah, special teams are all over the place. We already know that Joey Bosa underperformed because he was projected at 6 and he got 3 from his stupid fucking snap count. That's not helpful. But yeah, if you were projected at 10 points ahead with him having Michael Thomas and you not having Drew Brees, this might get ugly. Look at that. Raw Mexico's Avocados have a 1-5 record against you all time, meaning you've beaten David a number of times and Zach a number of times.
Yeah, but eventually that's got to change.
What are your thoughts of Sanders in the second game with Jalen Hurts? I know that there was a bit of consideration over who you'd start.
I still may bench Sanders at some point and put in Justin Jefferson, but I don't know. I want to give some thought as to who Jefferson is up against in terms of the Bears corner. I'm not sure which of the two he's facing at the moment. When I get that sense, I'll figure out how the matchup plays out and make a decision. But right now, I'm leaning Sanders. But now that Breeze doesn't have Michael Thomas and he's still probably playing Hurts, I'm debating Bridgewater again.
Who's Teddy playing?
Green Bay.
Oh, that's interesting.
If nothing else, he's going to have to throw. They have no choice.
Yeah, and I'm banking on that because I'm pretty sure I'm starting Robbie Anderson because there's just no word on Julio, and I don't want to have another issue like that. So yeah, he might have some fantasy point success.
The same thing is true of Drew Brees though, because he's playing Kansas City, so he also has to throw.
That's true. But without MT, Drew Brees always manages to get it to his guys though. I think this would be a good game for Jared Cook, for the Jared Cooks of the world. So yeah, I think if I was to call this game, I would think that you have a very, 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 very strong advantage. So
I don't know. That's too many varies. I might have a bit of an advantage, but
I'll take one vary out. I don't know. What does everybody else think who's looking at these lineups? People in Ben Wyatt, possibly. This to me looks like it's I mean, where is he stronger than you?
Quarterback.
Quarterback,
no question.
Yeah. But that's a lot to hope. Well, Mike Davis has actually been pretty solid. He's been getting the job done. It would really have helped David if CMC was back. That would have made it really interesting. But that doesn't seem to be. Has it been called officially? He's out?
Yeah.
Okay. So, yeah.
No, McCaffrey, I don't know about McCaffrey, actually, but I think everyone is just pretty much assuming. Like, it's not looking good.
Who is Seattle going up against? I felt like I saw they were going up against a tough pass defense. Or maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah, they are. I'm just trying to Washington.
Oof. Well, pass defense
is one of the best in the league.
God damn it.
It's specifically their run defense that isn't great. Their pass defense has been one of the best in the league.
I need some Lockett help too. So John's going is voting for you.
Thanks, John.
And Denver is as well. There you go. See, you got some support, Phil.
Yeah. But I don't know. This is exactly when you lose. When everyone's like, "Oh yeah, free play."
Well, this is what I'm feeling as well. I mean, I'm going in my first playoff game ever, and it's off to a shitty start. But yeah, I think it'll be a fun game regardless, and it'll be interesting to see who comes out top. Any other thoughts on that game before we move on?
No, not really.
All right, let us talk about the other side of the bracket. Let me pull the bracket back up. So we are talking about Cobras versus Wario in Week 15. I guess I could have updated this, couldn't I? Bam, there we go. Colorado Cobras, led by Derrick Henry, who is going to have another monster performance. I just feel it. Well, he's playing. He's also playing Detroit, I believe. So that's a lot of reasons to do very well. Still got David Johnson in the lineup with 0 projection.
Johnson is going to play. I don't know why it's giving him a 0.
Same issue as you, maybe.
Yeah, probably.
I just haven't updated yet. Russell Wilson. The site likes Wario a lot in this game. Like for two very good teams. It's interesting. I guess Russell Gage is dependent on if Julio plays or not. Like what he'll do will be affected by that. Who else we got here? How do you pronounce this dude's name? The linebacker, Raiders.
Kwiatkowski.
How did he do? Because he played already.
I think I remember him getting a key penalty at the end of the game, but
good old key penalties. They always help.
Other than that, I don't really know. If we check out the live scoring, I mean, Colorado's currently up 10.5 to 2.09. Kwiatkowski had sort of an average linebacker game of 7.5.
7.5, okay, that's all right. And he got, but not as good on his defensive back with Rayshon Jenkins. What do you think on this one?
I mean, it's going to be a tough game. When I look at this, though, I look at Wario's side, and outside of Wayne Gallman, who still, he tends to do something. I mean, he had a string of 6 games in a row over 10 before just missing 10 last week. So,
yeah,
he's been finding ways to produce. I don't really see a lot of holes on Wario's side.
Mm-hmm.
And like even when you go into the defense, you got people like Donald, TJ Watt. The secondary is not great, but like I don't know, the site seems to love it. I don't know why these safeties are projected so damn high, but whatever.
Yeah, there's no reason Jesse Bates should be projected that high.
Well, on the other hand, I mean Colorado's stuck starting Alan Lazard, Russell Gage, Hayden Hurst. I mean, they're not bad players, but they don't put the same fear of God into you that the Wario lineup does.
Yeah. I mean, one thing to note here, though, is that Keenan Allen being projected at 14.73 did put up 2 points.
Yeah, that is a good point.
That hurts. Who Cleveland playing?
Cleveland is – good question. Cleveland is playing the Giants.
What's that run defense like? I can't recall.
Not great, but not terrible. sort of mid-tier.
He might. He's been having some big games for Wario, so it'll be interesting to see what he ends up doing. Jared Goff starting. I guess no more hope in Daniel Jones and Drew Lock. Drew Lock had a good game last time around, but
yeah, that's not going to happen again.
Yeah. He's got Tyreek. He's got Travis Kelce.
Yeah, there's a lot of people to be worried about over
This
here.
is a scary. Yeah, this is a scary team. This is a scary team going into the finals.
Yeah, I'm rooting for Colorado.
Well, Colorado, it's close enough that it could be any way it goes. I don't think it'll be as dominant as the side is showing. But yeah, you know what? I'm gonna. I don't know who I pick in this. I think the numbers don't lie. The fear of God aspect of Wario. But I feel bad rooting against Israel. It's come this far.
Yeah, well, that's why I'm rooting for him. Only that reason.
Yeah. Denver is on Wario's side. Why? Just because of the name Wario? I assume that's the reason. Ooh, damn! I'm already feeling this whiskey, Phil. That happened quick. I guess we got no one from FOMFA around that can jump in and discuss these.
I mean, I'm here. I can discuss my team, but other than that, yeah, it's.
Well, it figures to be an interesting week to lead us into the finals. I'm pretty sure we're going to be seeing Sixes versus Wario, and that could be a very, very hands-on, deadly game. Who was it last year? Was it also Sixers versus Wario?
No, last year was me versus Turret Rocks.
Oh yeah, Turret Rocks, right? Oh, Wario didn't make it out of the first round last year.
No, Turret Rocks fell off a cliff this offseason. I don't know what happened, but they went from just dominating to like cellar dwelling.
Yeah, it's interesting. There's two teams that were in the semis that are both not in the playoffs this year. That's Lucas Shies and Turret Rocks.
Yeah, but Luis just got there because he just decided to be bored. He's like, whatever, I'll trade away my entire damn team.
Yeah. Well, technically it's three actually. You're the sandwich too, but you're the sandwich. What you called it essentially, and then kind of backtracked, but then didn't quite make it in the end. What's Denver saying here? Better top to bottom, not yeah. I think it's just. What about Woods? I don't know about Woods. I got high hopes for Woods, but
yeah, Woods has been one of the most consistent receivers as far as I can remember this year.
But he's got a Q. He's got a Q next to his name. That's the problem.
Good to go for Sunday. Published 19 minutes ago.
Yeah.
So he's playing the Jets. I think that's a pretty solid match.
That brings a smile to my face. I was a little worried about. I was really hoping he'd play because of the Jets matchup. Hoping that Jared Goff doesn't do his let's throw everything to Cooper Kupp. Or I don't mind that because he tends to throw the red zone positions over to Robert Woods, and Robert Woods gets those. What are those plays called? The jet sweeps?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's good news. All right, shall we rebrand then? I think we're done with we flew through FOMFA this week.
I'm not as chatty. I'm just sitting here being bitter.
Stop stewing about your car. I know, man. I get it. Especially when you get something new. All right, rebrand happened. We're back. Let's put up the what am I looking for? The bracket. The most exciting thing to happen this week is Jam's first playoff game ever, and also first playoff win ever. So it's gonna be fun. I've never been in this position, and I'm looking forward to it very much against the South Park Cows. Enjoying that it's the South Park.
Bracket still saying winner of like.
I didn't update it.
Oh, okay.
This is a screenshot. I pulled the screenshot. I did not update it. So it is the South Park Cows who made it through, and the Las Vegas Gamblers beating their big rival West Waco. That's really interesting. The way the rivalry worked out was pretty cool. Because even with me and South Park not being in the same division, we ended up being the rival matchup in Week 15. And West Waco and Las Vegas were the rival matchups. And West Waco went into the playoffs with a 2 games over Denver lead, and Denver recovered.
That was a huge game. Like,
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that was the highest scoring loss of the entire season.
Yeah, that was wild.
There's a very reasonable chance that out of the playoffs, that was the second highest scoring week we're going to see. And it just bumped West Waco straight out of it in week 1.
That's wild because West Waco's had a good year. And like I said, beaten Las Vegas a few times. And Las Vegas put up 274 points. Is that the highest point total this year? What is the highest point total?
I think we would have cleared that. There was 279 by Scranton in week 5.
Oh, I had a 293 in week 12.
Yeah, that's those are the two highest ones.
That's a big score. And West Waco put up 256. Oh my god. You lose when you put up 257.
I lost to you when I put up 241.7, but
yeah, that's brutal. That's brutal in the playoffs. He's the third highest scoring team, and bounced in the first round. But big performance for Denver. Congrats in Denver. Yeah, just like you said, third highest of the year. And you know what? I'm rooting for you, man. Rooting for you to beat Malibu and hopefully meet me in the finals. And then our agreement, as previously discussed, is you throw the game, and I win the championship. What are you looking at, Phil? You're squinting.
I was looking at, like, when I heard third highest of the year, I was like, no, but Las Vegas was, yeah. West Waco, I think, was something like 7th or so.
Like, well, I mean, I was talking about third highest scoring team.
Las Vegas is.
Yeah. All right. So let us look at the matchups. I guess we'll start with, I don't know if Chris is still around. You around? I'm asking. But we'll start with, while we're waiting on that, we can take a look at the matchup between Las Vegas and Malibu Bay Watchers. What do you think about this game, Phil?
Well, Malibu's team started out real hot and has sort of struggled a bit more as of late. But they've got some positive matchups here in terms of, DJ Moore, if they're throwing a lot, might benefit out of that. Mike Tomlin, I think Pittsburgh is playing the Bengals this week. That's all kinds of point potential. And Kyler Murray has not been the same since like week 9, 10.
Yeah. Kyler Murray was destroying for his team, which was like putting up like crazy, like Lamar Jackson last year numbers. Causing a lot of big wins.
Yeah, I mean, on the other side, though, like T. Higgins with the third string quarterback throwing the ball against the Steelers, that doesn't sound like anything you want to be starting. The good news is, as we mentioned before, David Montgomery's got a good playoff schedule, but this is his harder game against the Vikings.
Mm-hmm.
It looks like Russell Wilson, again, as we discussed with David, he's playing Washington, so that's no fun. And then Bruce Arians, Falcons. I think the Falcons are better than people give them credit for, and Tampa's probably going to beat them.
And their record gives them credit for.
yeah, but I like the Mike Tomlin matchup a lot better. So, last week I did call Las Vegas winning, put up a hell of a game. Yeah, this week I think I got to go with Malibu.
Malibu. Yeah, I think Malibu's got a great shot. The Kareem Hunt versus Nick Chubb has not resulted in any drop off in production. Like, they both do like really well.
Yeah, they're both on the field at the same time quite often.
Yeah, so like it's like that doesn't hurt the play. And who'd you say Kyler was playing?
Minnesota, I think. No, Eagles.
All right, we got defense.
We have parts of a defense. we have some components.
We're in the Jalen Hurts era, man. It's different now.
What's interesting about that actually is it might help the defense just because it's going to milk the clock more. If he's more likely to run the ball and the clock will keep going, then, when you just have incompletions, and the offense hopefully won't get the ball as much as when Wentz is fumbling it and throwing it to the other team constantly.
Well, it's interesting when I look at Las Vegas' team in a greedy way. I'm like both rooting and for them and against them. Because if Russell Wilson gets sacked a bunch of times by Chase Young, that's just aces in my book. But if Brady throws a bunch of TDs to Evans, that's also aces in my book. So it's a tough one to call emotionally. I think that in my view, I feel like the trend is going to continue to like. I think that Las Vegas will ride the trend against Malibu. I would say that Vegas squeaks it out in a hotly contested game. So there you go, Denver. I'm rooting for you to make it to the finals and lose to me. That's the way we go. All right, let me pull out of this. All right, we have Chris, but I just see like a roof from his.
Well, let's bring Chris's apartment into the chat.
What's up?
What's up, guys?
How's it going, dude? How are you, buddy?
Pretty good. Got off a little early. Got my new car getting dropped off here in a couple hours, and then we're heading up to the mountains.
Your luck with your car is better than mine, Chris.
Yeah, you'll have to elaborate a little bit more on that.
Well, Phil's got nitpicky issues, and almost all the nitpicky issues that he has with cars showed up on this car that he bought.
The biggest one is if anyone knows anything about cars, when the air is on, there's like a whistling or like clicking combination sort of coming from the passenger side, and it's not loud or anything, but you can hear it if the radio isn't really high up, and that irritates me endlessly. So
hey, man, it's your new car. Any little thing is going to stick right out.
Yeah, there are other problems, but the other problems I don't care about as much. That one actually bothers me.
We get to take our car on a road trip for a test drive, so we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, actually, when I bought my car, I guess it's 2 years ago now. The first drive that I did with it literally was myself, Phil, and two of our other friends who went to Pittsburgh to watch the Steelers game. It was like literally, I got it the day before that we did that trip. So my first drive was to pick Phil up at his place and drive across the border in a brand new car.
Do you still have the car?
Oh yeah, I love the car. It's a Sonata hybrid.
Nice. Yeah, I got a Hyundai Santa Fe.
There you go.
So, but on to more important matters, sir.
The Hyundai Cup. That is the more important matter.
It's a Hyundai Cup. We haven't talked to Chris live since like the last year's trash talk.
Oy.
It's been a minute.
Yeah, we don't need to talk about that though.
Hey man, you're doing better in this league.
That's empirically true.
I do like I like the building blocks of the Death Valley that Death Valley's got with like Cam Akers and Swift both working out. Because at the beginning that didn't seem like it was the right, like it seemed like Cam Akers had lost that job, but he's been fucking amazing lately.
It made that trade with Jason really, really long and difficult because I wasn't really willing to take a chance on just one of them if I didn't have to, right? So if I can get both, then my chances of at least scoring a running back were higher.
I was in the same dilemma because I think I was in trade talks at the exact same time with Jason's high pressure trade talk, nonstop badgering approach. I was like, to me, it just doesn't work unless I'm giving up a lot, but it doesn't work unless I get both of these guys because I don't know which one is a bust. But it looks like it worked out, man. Looks like they're both great players.
It's actually
Keep Kittle. That was the one that I think I was probably sticking on the most. But hey, players come and go apparently.
Yeah.
The rookies are all doing exceptionally well now, with the one exception, like in terms of the top sort of tier guys being Ruggs. Ruggs has done nothing, but the rest of them, like the biggest questions were Akers and Taylor, and both of them over the last few weeks have been like, "Oh, you do remember how to be a running back? That's fantastic." So
even Dobbins is coming on now.
Yeah. Everyone's looking good. It's funny when you listen to all the Reddit hype trades, watching Brian Edwards in Las Vegas, who is has like one catch all season or something.
I don't even know who that is.
I don't know who
There
that
were
is.
some people in Reddit, people were like, "Do you want Ruggs or Edwards?" Like they were asking, like they were the same sort of tier, and Edwards was like super hyped as the next great rookie off a great training camp. The other guy like that was Van Jefferson on the Rams.
Yeah.
Also,
a lot of hype
a lot
train
of
behind Van Jefferson. I remember that.
But most of the main guys, they're all outside of Ruggs. They're all doing well. I mean, Judy has been a little slow, but it's hard to blame him with
Yeah,
the
I feel
quarterback.
Judy's had inconsistent quarterback attention. Like he's played with all these random quarterbacks.
He's also been thrust into a situation where he faces the number one corner on every team, which is kind of harsh for a rookie, given that Sutton has been out. So,
Right.
Were KJ Hamler or Tim Patrick, or either of them rookies, or are they second-year guys?
Hamler's
Hamler's a rookie.
Okay.
Yeah, I tried to pull him in a trade with Israel, but
Yeah, he's flashed a couple times, but again,
he's a
I
bit
think
small.
The one I was expecting a little bit more out of was Keyshawn Vaughn. But I guess once Rojo kind of got a hold of that, and they kept bringing people in.
Yeah, they just went for the super team angle, right? It was like this guy just keeps going lower and lower on the rung because they just bring in guys after guys after guys. Brian Leonard Fournette, like there's no way Vaughn's gonna get time over Fournette, right?
Yeah, I was just like, so all right, well, fuck, $4 million down the hole.
I feel like Keyshawn Vaughn's got a good future, but because no.
If he had a good future, he would not have. They would not bother with. Let's bring in Fournette. Let's bring in. I forget who the other one that they brought. It was like LaShawn McCoy or something. That they brought.
Yeah.
And
I guess so.
Fournette wasn't even activated last week. That's how much they think about Fournette. So
Vaughn got one carry.
AJ Dillon, he hasn't really gotten much opportunity.
Yeah, Dillon has done nothing either. But these are all sort of like second tier guys that are more of a dart throw.
Yeah. I think now. No, I'm thinking of because Jamal Adams, he's been in more than 1 or 2 years, right? The backup for. Okay.
Jamal Williams, but he gets a lot of snaps. It's annoying because I'm watching Aaron Jones.
Serviceable.
He gets all the snaps. Like friggin' Dillon's not getting any of those.
Yeah, well, I'm hoping he takes him from Aaron Jones.
No. We don't want that. We don't want that happening. You want a fair fight, don't you?
Oh my God, this running back core is just gross.
All right, let me put up our matchup so we can talk a bit about it. Well, the big face that shows up is Mr. Neck, Lamar Jackson. So. I mean, you got the big player. You got the big money player. So
that's only because I paid him a lot of money.
Literally the big money player.
He was a guy that I was up on the bid for a good while on, and then you outbid me on him.
Yeah, and it was looking back and then seeing what Mahomes ended up going for. It's just kind of disappointing.
Yeah, he's had a down year. I mean, for what the thing is you can't expect him to do what he did last year because that was an impossible level of production. But you'd still expect him to have a very strong year. And I think he as a quarterback, he's still one of the better scoring quarterbacks. But it's not lofty $30 million points. And I was I wasn't that far off. I had big money bid on Lamar Jackson. If I won Lamar Jackson, I wouldn't have been able to get a lot of other players.
Right, and that's what ended up happening was because I was on MT and I was on. Gosh, I wish I could remember the other. I want to say it maybe even was Aaron Jones.
You were on everybody. You were top bid on everybody. You weren't top bid on Aaron Jones just because I didn't. I think I stayed top bid for the entire time I was there.
Okay, so I kept I was trying, but yeah, and so once people took MT, I was like, I got to get a fucking quarterback. That was a really, really fun auction.
Yeah, you got some good deals though. I remember thinking at the end of it that you got some good value. Ronald Jones was great value.
Yeah, he ended up working out.
Zeke looked like he was going to be one of the better value players, given he was sort of on the tier of these guys who all got more money. But then once Dak got hurt, Zeke just fell off a cliff.
Yeah. Yep.
Like Dak is in a good spot all of a sudden. Like I wasn't thinking that he had a lot of room to negotiate, but like that team plummeted. Like Andy Dalton's not a bad QB. He should have been able to make something happen.
Something, right? I mean, I guess considering he wasn't getting the first team reps, but I mean that doesn't bode well if you think you're going to bring in another quarterback next year. They're going to have the same issue.
Yeah.
And aren't they cutting preseason down to 3 games or something stupid?
Are they?
Maybe that's just in the talks.
Yeah, I think it depends on if they accept the 17-game season plan, but part of the 17-game season is a shorter preseason.
Gotcha. Okay.
So then how are you feeling, Chris? How are you feeling about all this?
Oh, dude, I love playing as the underdog. That's when all of my big wins have been when all you guys shit on me. So
I'm not shitting on you. I'm scared of you.
I have shit on you in FOMFA constantly, and you haven't won a game. So I don't know about this.
I would have to rebrand in my FOMFA. I did not bring any good vibes with that name or that logo or that attitude.
I like having it be against South Park over Scranton. I'll say that. That would have been a bummer to go up against Scranton.
Well, why do you say that?
No, just because like not from the point of view of the matchup. It's just I would prefer to lose to you if I'm gonna lose. Even though we're rivals, I would still prefer to lose to you.
Is there anyone who's in both leagues that has 2 good teams or 2 bad teams? I guess Mark missed the playoffs in both this year.
I guess it's Cyril.
Cyril
He has 2 bad teams, but Cyril's team next year in FOMFA
it's gonna be great.
Fucking scary.
Who put all their money on CMC and Saquon?
Yeah.
Right?
That's 2 bad teams. There you go.
But there's no one who has 2 good teams, I guess. That's
I mean, you're on the cusp there, Phil. I mean, you had a highest potential points and like one of the worst luck. Is that? Am I
yeah, but I didn't win. I didn't make the playoffs.
A man of data. What do you think is the toughest division in Ben Wyatt? Like, would it have?
I would say
I think so.
Southwest.
Southwest division is who?
Waco, Las Vegas, Houston, and San Antonio.
San Antonio, yeah. Especially next year when San Antonio gets their players back.
Yeah, I mean, setting aside San Antonio, in terms of potential points, that division has the first highest scoring team in West Waco, the 3rd after you in Las Vegas, and then Houston is pretty good, but they're not bottom or anything. They're pretty comparable to most 3rd-ranked teams. So, yeah, I think that one is probably the best division at the moment. Even San Antonio isn't going to be that bad once they get some players back.
Jet Setters was challenging too, though, up until there was a point at which Ennis Corthy kind of dropped off. But there was a while there where that lead kept changing. It was like Hollywood, South Park, Ennis Corthy. It kept flipping around.
Yeah, it was definitely competitive, but no disrespect meant to Chris here. It doesn't have a high-end team in it.
Right.
No, they have Chicago to beat up on, and there's like this 3-way becoming 2-way sort of matchup of like who's going to be the best in the division. But when you actually look at how many points they scored compared to teams like yours, West Waco, Malibu, it's not really all that close. So there's a lot of competition, and it's definitely an interesting race. But I can't call it the best division when it has the worst first place team.
Well, I still went 7-3 in the conference.
Yeah.
So I mean, I lost.
Yeah, but you
one
had 5-1 in the division, which means when you played the other conference or other division, it was 2-2.
Fair enough.
So what are we thinking? I feel like I've started off on a bad foot here because Joey Bosa was a bit of a bummer.
Oh man, I thought he was going to goose egg out on you, but then all of a sudden they put him in. They must have stuck him with something and said, "Go in there. We need to stop."
Well, he got 3 points, which is better than 0.
No,
But, like,
I was surprised. I was surprised because those 3 points, he was all over the running back and the quarterback for that. It was only one drive, and I think maybe half of the next one. He almost got a tackle for loss. He almost got a sack.
I know. I
he
saw
was
the
in.
almost sack.
Yeah.
It was annoying.
So that is nice, but it's always interesting because the site, especially with these new weird beta projections, I don't know what points it had Joey Bosa projected.
It had him at like 6. It had him at 6, which is weird because I thought that he'd be projected as higher. I guess maybe. Well, I mean, I wish
usually somewhere around like even the good ones are 6 or 7 because if you get a sack, great, but there's also going to be games where they don't, and they're just going to end up with like 2 or 3 points.
Yeah, even if they don't have a snap count limitations, I've had plenty of games where a good defensive end like Chase Young's had a lot of games where he didn't get a sack and didn't make me.
I think
the
Devin
biggest
White.
Game he had. Yeah, Devin White. Yeah, for sure.
He's been projected in like the 8s and 9s, but I think before this week he was the number 1 LB, but
yeah, IDP is the one that throws it the most because you can have monster games out of your IDPs, and
and Levante David too.
Yeah,
I mean, if someone was smart enough between you and I to have gotten David and White, that would have been pretty devastating. Because between the two of them, I think one of them's
getting big points. One of them's getting big points.
We have interesting matchups though because I have I have Lamar. You've got John Harbaugh.
Mm-hmm. So that only helps me if Lamar like destroys the other team. And Denver is just making the point that he had a 2-4 divisional record and beat South Park.
Denver's the other one that I saw here because I know all of a sudden I have my DC, but I need Zeke to go off.
Yeah, this is a weird one where like if Lamar goes off in a close game, then I'm fucked because both my DC and head coach are Baltimore.
Right, right.
So I need DeMar to like destroy this. I need if Lamar's going to do anything, I need him to destroy the team, and they arrest him after the third quarter, like they did with Russ last week.
Oh, that was devastating. Man, whoever started, that's just mean. Yeah, we got the Woods and the Cup matchup again. That's always
That's a fun one because like you never know like which way that's going to swing. But it's been split recently because it's like Cup basically gets all of the attention up until they get to the red zone, and then Woods gets the attention then.
Yeah, they're like 30 targets, but then he gets in the red zone and he just disappears.
He gets his points. He just doesn't get the touchdown points. Who's Miami playing? This could be the difference maker right here.
They're playing the Patriots, which is interesting because their defense keeps showing up when they need them to, and they're on the brink of playoff elimination, if I remember correctly.
Right. So we have a couple of these ones that could swing both ways. I've got Nick Needham. You've got Xavier Howard. I've got Levante David. You've got Devin White.
Nick Needham is the slot corner, is he not?
Is he? I'm still not decided if I'm going with Nick Needham or the guy from the Colts. Nick Needham's just getting a lot of waiver wire attention. That's why I picked him up.
Well, I've been thinking about flopping in McCourty over Baker because I don't know if Hurts is going to throw the ball enough to make Baker viable. When it was Wentz, I was salivating.
He did like running a lot in his first game, in his first start. He did a lot of scrambling.
He's not a good passer. He's just not.
Yeah. So that's the coin toss. When he does throw, it's almost like a 50-50 ball.
Yeah.
I don't think for a strong safety it matters too much if he's throwing the ball. You're thinking interception opportunities, but strong safeties come up to blitz. They come up to just hit runners. I think actually this might be better for Baker. That there's going to be a lot of running going on.
Yeah, he's been okay. I was strongly considering Jenkins last night, but
yeah, I was kind of hoping you would put in Jenkins. I saw that.
Yeah, I would have liked him. I would have liked it a lot more if Carr was in the whole game. I obviously didn't know.
Apparently, I cursed that.
Yeah, other than that, I don't have a lot of question marks. I'm getting down to a lot of, like Travis Fulgham type Jimmy Graham type players left, on my bench here. So
but I noticed you've got 3 of the guys I traded you in this starting lineup. This may be finally the difference maker week.
Well, it's either I guess Gronk or because Gesicki's got a separated shoulder, so it's either Gronk or Graham, and then it's either Denzel Ward who's out or J.C. Jackson. So easy.
Oh, 4 guys. I forgot J.C. Jackson was on my team too. You've got Keelan Cole in there.
Yep.
Yeah, Gronk versus Graham is an interesting one because like Graham has been doing well because the Chicago quarterbacks are just so shitty. But that Gronk Brady connection is back. Like when Brady's dealing, I've been getting a lot of points in FOMFA because of Gronk and like just a salary dump trade, and has been getting me points.
That Atlanta defense, oh my god.
Oof, yeah.
Real bad. I mean, there are some real bad defenses.
I think you go with Graham. It's a good call.
I'm definitely worried. I'm worried. I can't lie. I mean, between those 3 running backs, God,
Ronald Jones COVID doesn't help you at all. That hurts quite a bit.
He had surgery on his finger. I don't know if that was ever going to happen, but yeah, bad timing, real bad timing. Because then he might not be available for next week. Honestly, that's why I picked up Shady.
Oh, Shady McCoy.
Ugh.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be an interesting game though, Chris. I think it's gonna be an interesting game. Like,
I can't lie. I was real happy last night with your 3-point performance.
I'm gonna be rooting.
The lowest, what do you call it? Efficiency rating in the league. So I make the worst decisions. So that's what I have to work against this week. Like I said, a lot of my decisions are made for me this week, so that should bump up. Maybe I'll get second to last.
I found that I guess because of the nature of Ben White, because we all did the auction, like it's much hard, and teams aren't as deep as they can be because the auction got kind of fucking crazy. The efficiency isn't as big an issue in this league as it is in FOMFA. That's definitely one of the most nightmare scenarios and one of the worst parts of fantasy, in my opinion, is to watch your bench go fucking off because you made a dumbass move. I've done that plenty of times.
Yeah, I'm still sitting on Naheem Hines and Jeffrey Wilson. Russell Gage could, I guess, do it again after he sits on my bench. So Tyron Johnson, after I picked him up, and then I don't know why I picked him up. I'm not going to fucking start him.
We can pick up Anthony Lynn, too.
Hey, he got points last night.
He was in the positive. Terrible coach in the positive. That's always good.
Yeah, who was it that just picked him up and dropped him right away? Was it Denver?
I thought that. I don't know.
I think so, yeah. Well, I got I'm stuck on I'm just rooting Washington at this point because I had I paid a lot of money for the San Francisco offensive coordinator and they just fell off a cliff, losing all of their players. So Washington, go Redskins, I guess. Football
were a great addition. Trying to figure out your OC and DC. I mean, head coaches, I guess it's a little more straightforward. But yeah, it's a great addition.
It's fun. It's fun and it's trippy. I don't know how much. It'd be interesting to look back to see if an OC or a DC has decided a game.
It has.
It has?
Yeah.
Because I see the head coaches doing it because if there's big blowouts, you see the big numbers.
They're almost like tiebreakers. Like when there's games that are close, sometimes they'll swing because of the coaches. But that's
what it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, Denver's claiming he didn't drop Lynn. Who dropped Lynn then? Someone picked up and dropped Lynn real quick.
I don't remember this at all.
I feel like
I dropped him. Someone picked him up. And then everyone was like, why did you pick him up? And then they were like, who, me?
All right, man. What's going to be the call? How does South Park win this game?
South Park is going to win this game by 27
27 points. Wow.
27
South Park
points.
do pretty well.
Yeah, well, we're both going to do well, but I'm going to do weller, and I'll just keep designing my trophy, I guess.
Hey, I appreciate all the work on the trophy. You know, like it's going to be really fun sitting on my mantle there. Yeah, I think it's going to be a fun game. It's going to be a close battle for like half of it, and then Derrick Henry's just going to start pounding points into the end zone, and yeah, I think that's all she wrote, man.
Yeah, it's going to be
a good rivalry.
It's going to be an embarrassing game for James Robinson because when they run the ball a total of 17 times the whole game, I mean,
he's questionable right now. I might have to switch him out. I hope not, but I might have to switch him out.
Is he's got to be player of the year, right?
Rookie?
In terms of like, yeah. Well, I guess I think he might be like.
Well, he's still in like
fantasy, like best contract, like best value sort of player.
Yeah, that and like he's just been so fucking good.
There's 3 contenders for it. One is Robinson. One is Antonio Gibson on my team because he's just as cheap, not quite as effective, but almost as effective, but signed for another 3 years without needing any more salary.
Yeah,
right. I tried to get him.
Justin Herbert, who is amazing, better than both, but also is a quarterback, so you can get pretty good quarterback production without that much difficulty, where it's harder out of running backs. So
yeah, like I made the trade for Bosa mostly because Bosa's contract expires, and I didn't have any room to extend James Robinson with the way that my team was structured because it was all like longer term contracts. So like that was one of the biggest kind of impetus for that move. Because at $4.2 million, he's not cheap to extend. Like he's cheap relative to his production, yeah, but you still have to have the cap room to do it.
Yeah, you could extend him for 1 year reasonably, but then he's gone after 1 more year. Yeah. So like if you want him for any long term, it's going to cost you.
And you grabbed him from Chicago?
No, from Jersey.
From Jersey, okay. Yeah, I traded him away when he started, not producing at a $10 million level. So it was funny to see him get passed around.
You had him initially?
Yeah, I drafted him.
Robinson wasn't drafted in this league.
Yeah, you got him.
I'm talking about Bosa.
Oh, okay.
Oh, Bosa. Okay, sorry.
Bosa, yeah, sorry.
Yeah, you got Bosa at a good clip considering what the other defensive ends of his level went for. I paid more for Chase. I got stuck in a whole emotional battle of like, I don't want to lose this guy, and I'm going to pay more. I think he's going to be good long term, but
yeah, I think Chase is a better long term for sure. I think the younger Bosa as well. That
Nick
injury,
yeah, that was rough.
But yeah, so what's your prediction there, Jam?
I think we're gonna have a back and forth battle, and at some point separation will be created. I feel like it's only ceremonial if it comes down to Lamar having a great game, but that also resulting in John Harbaugh having a great game. So I think that's what it'll come down to. But it's definitely not an encouraging start with Bosa putting up 3 points when I needed him to put up more. So good luck to you.
Man. To you as well, man. I think it looks like we're going to have a lot of this figured out by Sunday afternoon.
Yeah, I got to block off my Sunday. I can't do anything else. I'm only watching football Sunday.
Yeah, you have 2 guys. Oh no, I'm sorry. Those are Saturday. You got 2 late Saturday guys, but beyond that, neither of us.
The Saturday thing affects me actually because like I can't wait to the last minute about Julio. I've got to start Robbie Anderson.
If Jam is up the projected like 40 odd points after the early game Saturday, it's going to be real tough for Chris to catch back up.
But then I need Robbie Anderson to have himself a game, which is a big like the season started off. He was like the guy in Carolina, but it's kind of been switching around, and he hasn't had as big games lately. So it's a lot of question marks.
Sure, and then I guess it depends on who covers him because I know they have, the one really good cornerback they have there, like Kevin King, is that?
Yeah, but I don't know if he's
is he garbage cornerback. The good cornerback is Why can't I think of his name? But the not Kevin King one is the good
The
corner.
not Kevin King one.
Amos?
No, he's a safety.
All right, guys, I got to jump.
All right, buddy.
Everyone,
good luck.
yeah,
Not so good luck to you, but it's gonna be fun, buddy.
yeah, to you guys as well.
All right, man.
We'll see you in the chat.
Sounds good, buddy. Take it
Yep.
easy.
See you later. Jair Alexander.
Oh yeah.
Jair Alexander is the good one, but he'll be matched up on DJ Moore, so this is probably a good thing for you.
Wonderful. So at this point, like we're in the playoffs, you got to be rooting for me at this point, right?
Yeah.
I'm rooting for you. And David is a friend.
I guess you have a more challenging situation.
I've got a dilemma. Not really.
I find it kind of funny that like you're like, oh, it's two friends. Who do I root for? And Ryan's dilemma is more like, I don't want Phil to win, but I really don't want David to win. So this might be more up where...
Yeah, Ryan's got a rough dilemma on this one. My point of view is David hasn't been playing fantasy for as long as I have. It is unacceptable that he can make it further than me.
He inherited his team. He didn't have to build it.
Doesn't matter. He could have fucked it up, and he did his best to fuck it up. But he somehow still managed to have a pretty competitive thing. He like on the luck scale, he was on the higher end, right?
Yeah, he was one of the top teams in terms of good luck.
God damn. Go Sixes.
That phrase has never been uttered before.
I don't like this dude who's got a lot of luck to go and take it away.
The counterpoint, David works off in a hole that we never have to see at work when we go back to the office.
That's true. That's true.
We go back into the office. This will be prominently in your eye line at various times.
Yeah, but then that just reminds me of how great it's going to be when I get to walk over to your office, grab it by two of those prongs, pick it up, and walk it over to my office. I'm going to put it on the cabinet too, so everybody can see it. But yeah, for now, here's my thing. Let's keep it in Canada so the shipping isn't bad.
I mean, I don't have to pay for the shipping regardless. I think
I know.
it's someone else who should want to keep it in Canada.
But
the reason I want to keep it here is more, if I don't win this year, I plan to win next year, and I would like to just have cheap shipping then. So
let's just keep it around until my team is good enough to win, and then I'll take it off your hands. That seems reasonable, I feel.
I honestly don't even I think the shipping is going to cost as much as the damn trophy did.
It's so big. It's so
heavy. It's so big.
Like the Ben Wyatt one won't be as tall, right? Well, it will be, I guess, once you add the cone.
I don't think even with the cone it's going to be this tall.
Yeah, this is really goddamn tall. That's a beauty. I want it.
If Mark ever wins the league, he's going to have to get a second mortgage on his house just to get the trophy over there.
He's going to move to Canada.
It'll probably be cheaper to just create a new trophy in Ireland.
Yeah. Just make his own trophy, the Irish version. All right, dude. Anything else we got to cover?
Well, worth noting some things coming up that I haven't talked about too much, but one, once we get past the week of the finals, immediately after that's over, we will be in Ben Wyatt. We have the Pro Bowl coming up.
Oh yeah.
So people.
Sorry, explain to me again how that works. Like it's only for the teams that did make the playoffs?
No, it's for everybody.
Okay.
It's the best of each conference. So every team will get a vote as to which players should be representing their conference in the Pro Bowl. They should keep in mind it's being played week 17, so maybe think about if someone is going to be benched because their team has nothing to play for, maybe don't vote them in. So there has to be some strategy involved. But then whatever conference wins the Pro Bowl, there's money associated with that, and then it's split amongst all the teams.
Mm-hmm.
Tiebreakers are the conference champions. They get a tie-breaking vote to decide who makes the starting lineup. And that's how the Pro Bowl works.
I like it. The Pro Bowl is going to be fun because it'll be like postseason. Everyone gets something that's to root for.
And then after Pro Bowl, We get rule change week. Even more fun.
Wait. Hold on. We don't have rule change week in FOMFA.
We actually do. We've had several. Like, if you go back, there's always polls about like what rule changes are. I've already got a list, at least in Ben Wyatt and FOMFA. I don't think there's anything I need.
Well, in Ben Wyatt, it's a brand new league, so like, you'll see more of that in the first year.
I have some things where I'm like, I fucked this up. I want to fix it. There's currently 5 different things that I want.
Okay, let's preview.
Some I think are more likely than others. First one is practice squad changes to align with the NFL. I don't know what that means anymore, but that's the note that I made. I'll clarify that beforehand.
I feel like that's probably related to the
eligibility.
Yeah, exactly. Like it was being kind of abused as anyone under 2 million was being tossed in the press.
Yeah, this was stupid. I should not have been able to have Malcolm Jenkins on my practice squad all season.
All right, Denver seems to have suggestions. He's ready.
Yeah, I think the NFL thing is like if they're in their first year, they could be on it, or if they're in their second year and played fewer than 6 games or 8 games or something in their first season, they can be on it. So just aligning our practice squad rules with what the NFL is already using for realism and to make our practice squads actually make sense.
So what does that do to people that already have players on the practice squad that are not eligible to those rules?
I would grandfather anyone in.
Okay.
On the
that's fair. That's fair.
Yeah.
But once they're pulled off the practice squad, they can't ever go back in.
Yeah, but that's pretty much already the case. So, I mean, anytime I have rule changes, for what it's worth, I try to make them so that they impact as few people as possible.
Yeah, which is fair.
So another one of these, for instance, is defensive coordinator adjustments. The intent was when I set this up that offensive coordinators and defensive coordinators would be 2 sides of the same coin, basically equal in value. But because our defense ends up scoring a good deal less than our offense, the defensive coordinators subsequently also score a lot less than the offensive coordinators. Yeah. So my proposal for that would be change the multiplier from 0.003 for defensive coordinators to 0.004, which should put their scores about equal. But I would also not implement that until after whatever defensive coordinator is on the longest contract, say they're through 2022, the rule would only go into place into 2023. Because it shouldn't impact anything where it's like, oh, I got this guy under contract or whatever. It's like,
no, that's fair.
That's for it.
Yeah.
Third thing, you cannot.
Sorry. Before you go to the third, why not just leave it as is for defensive coordinators and just assume that that is a role that doesn't score as much?
That you can. I mean, if you want that, just vote no.
I'm not sure what I want. I'm just bringing it up.
It's a possibility, and I think there'll be a lot of people who are like, "Yeah, I expected them to score less. Vote no." That's fine.
Interesting. Okay. Cool.
I'm just saying this was my intent when I created the league to have them score equal, but it's not a requirement.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Third thing, you cannot pick up a player you've dropped until the following waiver cycle. I didn't want to mention this before, but there's a big loophole that can be exploited, and I would like to patch up this loophole quickly. What I mean by this is right now, theoretically, you could have, and I didn't want to tell anyone this because unless someone did this and I'd fix it, but you could have dropped a player at like 859 who is a really good player or something, and then immediately put a bid on to re-sign since no one would have noticed him drop in that minute. And you could have re-signed your guy who was making like $10 million to like a $350,000 contract that you could then re-sign at really cheap. So
you could do it like right before the limit.
Yeah, it didn't happen, but like there's always that possibility. I'd like to close that loophole before it becomes something.
So there weren't locks on if you drop a player that they're not locked.
Locks come off on Wednesday at 9:00 when the waivers are run. So when you drop a player, there are locks, but the exception to that is because of the Wednesday waiver run at 9:00. If you drop someone at 8:58 or 8:59 on Wednesday, they will unlock a minute later.
Oh, how's this handled in FOMFA? Because
I think it's the same problem there, and I'm going to make the same. It hasn't been something anyone has actually had a problem with, but it's one of those things. If I realize it's a problem, I'd rather deal with it before someone does it, and then we have to have the situation that we've had a lot this year, where it's like, well, it's not in the rules because a commissioner's nightmare is always like, yeah, we didn't think of this, and now we have to like make a ruling. It's easier to just put a rule in place. So the easiest way to avoid this is just if you drop someone, you can't pick them up the immediate next cycle.
Yeah,
You have to at
yeah,
least
yeah.
wait one cycle.
Yeah.
Because then everyone else will have an opportunity and you can't gain an advantage from it.
Yeah, that's simple enough.
Fourth thing, I think this rule proposal is going to be voted down heavily, but I wanted to propose it anyway. Forced pick swaps. This is what I mentioned earlier about like not any picks that we've already done, but into the future for picks we haven't done yet, where you don't control your picks anymore. You control your rivals' picks.
Oh, geez, this is super interesting. Well, before we get into that, Denver's voting no on Prop 2.
Which one is Prop 2? The defensive coordinator adjustments.
Yes, on Prop 3 for Simple Chris. So you're proposing to make this a rule, though, this pick swap?
Yeah, it's like you don't. It's not this negotiation that like Jersey and Scranton had. It makes it more serious. So one, it makes the rivalry thing more interesting. But two, there's a beneficial side effect of everyone's like subtle tanking efforts. Because I mean, no one's like hardcore tanking, thankfully, because it's anti-competitive. But there's still subtle tanking efforts. Those are eliminated because you don't control your pick anymore. You control your rival's pick. But at the same time, if you're setting rivals at a reasonable interval, you should be roughly on the same level as your rival. So you will still get a relatively comparable pick, but there's no ability to tank, and you're just more rooting for your rival to fail more than you already are, because the more they fail, the better.
That's always fun. Rooting for your rival to fail is good fun.
So, I mean, I know this would be a huge rule change, so I don't expect it to go through. It's a big enough rule change that some of these things, like the cannot pick up a player you've dropped or whatever, that's just like I would require league majority. Something like this forced pick swaps, I'd want at least like 2/3 of the league. Yeah, because it's a pretty major change.
Yeah, I don't even know how I feel about that currently.
Yeah, as I said, I think it's a long shot, but I just wanted to propose it. But even though I like it, I recognize it's a big rule change, so it would have to be a 2/3 to pass.
And what was our rule on when you can change your rival?
Initially, after the first 2 seasons, and then every 5 years.
I wonder if it would be worthwhile to put a rule in place that your rival's got to be in your division, because I think it's more interesting that way. And I suffered from that, as in I played Chris once, and I'm playing him now in the playoffs. But it's more fun if you got to battle each other twice in the regular season.
Yeah, not just that, you fucked up my scheduling like tremendously.
Well, I didn't know, I didn't know any. Like Chris and I knew each other, so it'd be fun to fuck with each other.
Yeah, like you and Scranton should clearly be rivals.
Yeah.
My final rule suggestion, again, a pretty minor one, but I think it would add just something to fun. Take something from baseball and Pro Bowl. Every team has to be represented. We have 19 starters, and there's only 8 teams per conference, so you can't just load up. You can't. Even the shittiest team probably has at least one player where it's like, yeah, like a prospect or a guy that they paid too much for. Like they'll definitely be there. Like even worst case scenario, a quarterback, because I mean, who cares about quarterback? But
what I love about this is you can really hate on the guy that you had to put his player in if you lose.
So those are the 5 rule changes that I've been thinking about all season.
Very nice.
Everyone is welcome to submit to me rule changes. I will flag one thing. I try to make this league, like somewhat democratic in terms of votes, but ultimately I still will not put everything up to a vote. If there's something that I just truly hate and I'm like, I don't want to run a league that's operated this way. This league was set up behind how I wanted a league to operate. I will veto certain potential rule changes. But I will put up things that things I don't necessarily like that I might vote against, as long as I'm like, I don't like it, but I could live with that.
Well, it's within the spirit of the league. It is your the rules have been set up to your league. As commissioner, I feel like that's fair.
So it's not a full democracy, but it's not a full dictatorship either. It's somewhere in the middle.
Somewhere in the middle. All right, buddy. Is there anything else we should go into for closing off?
No, I don't think so.
All right. Well, good luck to everybody except for Chris this week. And
David. No good luck to David either.
Good luck to everyone but Chris and David. And we'll see you all next week as you go into the final. That should be a fun one.
Big week.
I'm going to be off, so I might even try and throw some graphics and some fun shit into these finals.
Spend that time modeling our pet projects. Don't
pet projects, You're right. All right, guys.
All right, see you later.
Thanks for listening. Good to see you guys. See you there.
Bye.